Broadcasting from Detroit's Cass Corridor, it's the Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham. Coming up this hour, teens have been taking over public spaces in Detroit and around the country. We'll talk to the kids about why it's happening. However, we start with comedy. WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase is tonight at the Old Miami. Tickets are available at the door and online at wdet.org/events. Detroit's own Melanie Hearn will headline tonight's show. This is her second time headlining the show, and she joins us now on the Metro. Melanie, welcome back to the Metro.
Good morning, or as I say, what up, doe?
What up, doe, Melanie?
What up, doe?
You are, one of the funniest folks in the city of Detroit, number one. Number two, thinking about all the things that you've been able to accomplish as a comedian. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh my God, disappear.
The power of vanishing.
Yeah, if I can just vanish, just like poof, like if I'm in the middle of a bad set, all right, that's been my time. Psh, and I'm on, and I vanished and went to a whole nother comedy club and wiped everybody's memory clean that they never saw me. So if I can erase your mind and vanish at the same time, that'd be great. I was never here. Shazam. If I could just Shazam my way out of here, that'd be great.
I'm about to say, is it Shazam. I can't even get it out right
Shazam.
Now. Thank you. But they used to say that it was like it was like a fake film. Remember that people were saying it was fake?
What, Shazam?
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
It was an amazing movie.
You talking about the new or the one with Shaq? What was the one with Shaq?
Was it Kablam or something like that? It was
Kaboom.
similar.
It was something. It was.
I don't know what that was. But he was a genie.
He was. I think they tried to mix like Shazam and Shabloom, and it was like Shablam.
It was like Shablam.
Yeah, it was like Shablam or Kaboom. Anyway, I don't ever want to see Shaquille play a genie.
Never again. Never again. Never again. So just moving forward, of course, to 2026 this year, I saw earlier this year that you hosted an art of comedy writing workshop. Why did you decide to take on a teaching role?
So it's actually called the Art of Comedy Hosting.
Okay.
And I decided to take on that role because we have an influx of new comics that's coming into the community. And by me being in the game 10, 11 years, you got to teach people and you kind of got to reach one to teach one. So I was seeing a lot of, and we're starting to get a lot of clubs here in Michigan. So we have about 4 or 5 new clubs that kind of popped out and things like that. So, and Detroit really wasn't known. We only had about 2 or 3 clubs. Yeah. And I came up in the club, and there is a difference between hosting inside of a club and hosting inside of a bar. So I kind of, professionalism is a part of comedy, and I'm one of those people that comedy is a career for me. And so for comedians that want to take this and make it a actual career, move it from a hobby, if you want to learn how to get paid, if you want to consistently get booked, if, those kind of things. And so I just saw that it was a need for it in the community. And so I just decided to go ahead and share the knowledge that I knew, because I'm like, at the end of the day, you want to get paid for this. We love to make people laugh. We love to get on stage. We love all those things, but I love money more, so it was a way of teaching people, just the art of taking it out of a hobby and actually getting your chops together so you can actually host, and not just hosting in a comedy club. You can take that hosting skill set and do private shows, private events, emceeing, all those types of things. So it's just a good skill set to have, Yeah.
Now, we did have the one mic, the Mike Epps comedy, that did close down.
Kabloom. Kablooey.
So when that closed down, I got a little nervous about Detroit's comedy scene. But then you just told me 4 new venues have opened up.
Well, yeah, we're kind of going through a back and forth. So RP to the Independent that recently closed.
Yes.
That was very heartbreaking for the community, because that was a good space for people to just work out before you got to the club. But we do have the Comedy Bar. We do have Mic Drop. You have one night stands out in Waterford. But at the end of the day, you still have Mark Ridley's, which is pretty much tried and true, in the community. But we did take a hit when the Indie closed. But like I said, we do have other clubs coming up now. And I believe we have Keisha's Comedy Castle. Yeah. And shout out to Keish Gallman. She's one of the first Black female comedian that owns a comedy club in East Point, Michigan. So shout out to Keish.
That is amazing. And like you said, things are happening in our community right now, especially the comedy community across Metro Detroit. But I want to go back for just one moment and talk about, you as a now mentor for another generation, or even just another group of comedians coming up right now. For you, what was something that you wish you knew starting out 10 years ago?
Be more focused on what it is that you want to do. If I would have kind of cut out just doing everything, it did help with versatility. But in the same token, if I know that my end game is to be on a Daily Show, then I need to be in the arenas where the Daily Show people are, and I don't say any time is wasted. But I will say that I probably would have moved around in those circles a little bit more. And, not to take stuff as seriously, like 10 years ago, I was probably, I got to get it right. I got to get it right, instead of just having a little fun.
Yeah.
So if I could tell myself anything 10 years ago, it's like, girl, have a little bit more fun and stop burning gas going all these places that don't mean nothing. Stop burning gas. If I tell myself anything 10 years ago. Stop burning gas.
And gas was cheaper 10 years ago. So
I don't know. Was it? I don't know. Well, I was in California, so it could have been back then. Gas was never cheap in California.
No, it wasn't. So
ever, not at one time.
You understand the prices. Now, we've been talking about Detroit changing a lot over the years and continuing to change. What is one way you wish Detroit would change, especially when we talk about the comedy scene?
I would like to see Detroit have industry here. I would like us to... this was the Motor City at one point in time. Motown at one point in time, where people came from all over to get a name. So let's not recreate that with comedy. And what I mean by industry is we need some agents, some networks, some places here that we can place people on TV. We can place people there. So if I would like to see anything, I would like to see a little bit more industry here, instead of us having to go to New York and California and Texas or Atlanta, or heck, even Chicago has a little industry, but just to have a little industry here, would be great. Because sometimes in the comedy world, Detroit gets glossed over.
Yeah.
Even though we have some of the best comics here in the world. Shout out to Ron Taylor, who just won the Netflix, Funny AF. He was from Detroit, and came up through these streets. So we kind of get glossed over in the grand scheme of coming here and looking for talent. But once we go out into the world, we're picked for talent, if that makes sense. So I would like to see people, hey, put Detroit on the stop, come here and film here and make us a stop on y'all list, instead of bypassing us and going next door. So that's what I would like to see.
Yes. I've watched comedian CP for years in Detroit. And just to see him now doing, a little bit of roles here and there, but it's just like he's starting to really get in front of the camera a lot more. And it's interesting that, once again, had to leave, to get those opportunities. It's the Metro on WDET, Detroit Public Radio. My guest is Melanie Hearn, who headlines WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase. It's tonight at the Old Miami. Tickets are available online at wdet.org/events. You can also pick some up at the door. The doors open at 6. The show starts at 7. Now, Melanie, you were part of WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit comedy show last year. What do you like about performing at this event in particular?
I just posted on my Facebook page that I've always loved this event because people are actually there ready for a show. Even though they're outside, they're there, they're all in. The vibes are cool. The food is amazing. The drinks are strong. They strong. And everybody is they're there for it. And they kind of let you push the envelope. They don't care. They're not squeamish. They're not like, don't say that. So I would say, if anything else, I really like the audience. Like they're actually there for the funny. I've never been heckled, never had any, knock on wood, never had any issues there or anything like that. And it's just always been a good time.
Mm-hmm. Every time I've seen a comedy show as well at the Old Miami, What's So Funny About Comedy, the crowd is ready to just laugh.
They are.
And honestly, because it's a Detroit crowd and audience, you notice too, with this audience, if you're not funny, they're not gonna
No, they will
laugh.
give you a blank stare.
Yes, they.
Like, I don't get it. I almost wish you would give me the polite laughter. Then the blank stare, that hurts. That hurts your heart.
I've definitely seen the blank stare. I
That
said,
hurts your heart.
oh, this is truly a Detroit comedy audience right now at the Old Miami. How does the setting at the Old Miami impact how you do your set in general? Does it matter who you're performing for, or even how does the weather impact your set?
Well, if it's windy, I'm gonna make sure I have on pants. But I would say outdoor events are a little bit more loose because you're outside and you kind of get to pick from everything you see. So it can be somebody's cheering in the back. It can be a sound that you heard. So you have a lot more to pull from when you're outside because, again, it's just a more of a lapsed environment. So I switch it up a little bit because inside the club is more regimented. It's more, we're here, you got 20, you're there. Outside, you in lawn chairs, you might catch somebody getting up and doing something or shifting. So it's fun. It's just backyard fun.
Yes.
I would say.
And how do you prepare for a set? Just typically, how do you prepare for a set?
Well, I usually, I start getting in my mind what the show is about, who's there, what the audience may look like. Then I kind of start pulling the material that I may want to talk about. I'll go back and listen to my old sets. And then I'll usually, like yesterday, I went to an open mic to work out some of the kinks of things that I may want to talk about. And then I just let it fly.
Yeah.
Like I have a set list in my head.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you can have a set list in your head. You can get there and maybe whatever is not pulling. So you kind of have to have a backup. And, so we always have to have a backup in your head because if you're doing, and this is a rule of thumb, if you're doing 30 minutes of comedy, some people say you need to have 60 to 90 minutes because if any parts of that 30 don't work, then you have to be able to go into your repertoire to go somewhere else and be able to pivot. But if you don't have that material to pivot, then you're kind of stuck. And that's something I learned 10 years ago where I was hosting and the headliner literally said, just keep talking until I come in a room. Well, I burnt through all my little 15 minutes of material and it's 300 people in this room and I'm sitting here talking about $5 boxes at Long John Silver's and not getting the crumbs in the bottom because I've just ran out of stuff to talk about. So so you have to be able to pivot if the crowd is not feeling whatever it is, because I can go in there, I know what I'm talking about. And if they just like, then I got to pivot and go a whole nother direction.
So about 10 years ago, or when would you say was about the time your brain started to understand that flexibility you needed to have in order to perform?
I was that day. I was going to say that day I started learning that particular day. And then after that, shortly after I moved to California, and it taught me a lot because the style on the West Coast is very different from us. We're very abrasive here, in your face, get it all out and talk fast. There, you got to slow up the pace. And it's kind of like you want me to slow up the pace, but I'm only getting 3 minutes. So what do I do? So it kind of taught me to slow down a little bit, let people understand you, let them feel you, let them get it all across. So that was a big adjustment, I was going to say, for me, to learn how to pivot. And it was times that people just wasn't feeling what I was saying, and I had to pivot. But I would say that would probably be the day that I learned trial by fire.
Pivot. Last 30 seconds that we have here. What are your plans for the rest of this year? Are we expecting to see more classes?
Absolutely. I will be starting classes again in the fall. For now, I will be traveling, and I guess I've manifested because I've called myself the Queen of the North. So I'll be in Windsor this upcoming Saturday for their Emancipation Day when they emancipated from Britain. So I'll be there. And after that, I will be over in Toronto for a few shows. So your girl gonna just keep pushing north. You look up, I might be in fair England. I may be in Scotland telling jokes. So who knows?
In the Highlands. Highlands.
In the Highlands. I'm pushing north. Outlander, who knows?
That's Melanie Hearn, who will headline WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase tonight at the Old Miami. The doors open at 6. The show starts at 7. Tickets are available right now online at wdet.org/events. And of course, supporting the show is a great way to support Detroit Public Radio. Melanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me as always.
Of course. This is The Metro. And how are we doing? We want you to let us know. Whether you're a new listener or a public radio vet, you can take our listener survey quickly and anonymously at wdet.org/survey. That's wdet.org/survey. Now, coming up, teens have been taking over public spaces in Detroit and across the country. A lot has been said about why, but is anyone asking teenagers themselves? Carrie Jr. II did. That's next on The Metro.